just so that we don't fuck everything up. Swearing is completely appropriate. My students better learn what the hell I'm like.
Part of the package.
Yeah. Okay, so it says we're live. So let's just assume we are and recording. So if we're not, we'll just upload it later. Rob, thank you so much for joining me. You and I have known each other for I don't even know how many years. And you don't know this, but I've actually been a massive admirer of the way you build in public, your launch of your latest book, like just the way you do everything as an entrepreneur is admirable and interesting and unique and different. And I'm envious of it. And that is why I've got you here talking to me and my students about your side hustle life. So welcome.
Thank you, Nick. Likewise, been following your stuff for a very long time. I think we connected at a WordPress event once. You were speaking, and then since then we've just been hitting it off.
Yeah, wow, that was ages ago. I'm glad you remembered. So I never ever introduce my guests because nobody knows you better than you know yourself. So why don't you just tell all of my audience exactly who you are and how you tell people about yourself?
Cool. So, I always like to say that I build things on the internet. That's the general one. But it all started from freelance. And then I started dabbling on the side. And my journey went into, I was never happy with the solutions I was finding online while trying to satisfy my clients. And that just, led to dabbling into side projects, side hustles. And then as soon as I started to monetize a few, I was like, wait a second, I can maybe monetize this a little bit more than my Cape Town expenses, and I don't need these clients anymore. So what do I do full time? I dabble on the internet and I try work on things that motivate me.
Okay.
And my niche right now is sort of landing pages, one-page websites, and anything to do with that, anything to do with making those more streamlined, or also the side projects I'm working on around that ecosystem.
And
so
you're by trade, you're a designer.
Online. Yeah, I'm self-taught designer, developer as well. I've built WordPress themes in the past. I used to give clients the full solution. If you're a pharmaceutical company and you needed a catalog of products online, I had a digital agency, and we used to hook that up for you. But yeah, everything's been self-taught, since the Yahoo GeoCities days. And only recently GeoCities, mad. But what I do lots of things. So it's very hard to define, but I'm definitely a hustler.
Okay, so I mean, I'm interested in that. Like, there's a lot of anxiety around doing a lot of things. A lot of people have careers and only have careers, and the side hustle thing is kind of new, especially in South Africa and emerging economies. Like, get a career is always the way to go. So how do you deal with the panic and anxiety of so many things? Because I struggle too. And I found that saying no is more important than saying yes. But yeah, how do you, I added to that, how do you deal with it? But I also know you have a project graveyard. So you're happy to put stuff away and let them die.
Yes. Wow. I recently put up the graveyard, robhope.com/graveyard, just for me to reflect on my journey. And I think, what this all boils down to is you need to be prepared that you will fail. There's no ways. No one has a success ratio of launching one side project and then that's the side project they work on for the rest of their lives. Yeah. 99% of all the success stories you've heard are just a combination of failing forward, reusing a lot from your previous projects, into your next one, just iterate slightly. But it's all about the middle for me. And this is something that, few people talk about, but a lot of people aim for the end. And right now, I'm busy with 7-8 different things. All of them motivate me. So when I wake up and I start working every day, I say, what do I want to work on now? Where does my motivation lie? For example, I have a website called Email Love, and I haven't had the motivation the last few months, but I keep adding to it every now and again. It's still going. And if I lose complete motivation there, it'll go into the graveyard. At the end of the day, I just like building things. I like interacting with other makers around the world. And while I'm doing that, that's just the stimulating middle. There is no end. I've arrived at the end, if you want to call it that way. So yeah, just to say, how do you handle all the side projects at once? You just need to follow where the motivation lies. Luckily, I don't have the freelance. If I had to pay bills using freelance, I wouldn't have enough steam to work on 7 or 8. I'd probably be working on 1 or 2, if that answers your question.
It does, yeah. I mean, and also so subtly and philosophically profound that I think it's without, I don't know if you realize this, but so many of the people building side hustles, their objection is, well, I want this to earn me money now. And the problem with that is it doesn't. There is no quick win. Like you've said, the middle is the actual end point, where what I like to help people do, I've kind of coined these phrases, your success and your failure triggers. So what are the things that you click that you go, oh, well, this is now a successful side hustle? For example, your side hustle success trigger might be 1,000 Rand a month to pay off your car. Cool. When you've got that, park that one, let it earn the 1,000 Rand a month. Now it's in this happy middle where you just maintain it and it makes money. So I love that. I'm going to steal that, the happy middle. When did you, like, what was the moment? Do you remember the moment you were like, screw this, I don't want to do freelance forever. I want to do multiple projects and be a side hustle person?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So back in the day, doing freelance for clients, they used to send me this Word document, all capital letters. And they're like, put this into a beautiful website for me. So I was searching online for case converters, and this, like Word and all our Google Docs and so on have this kind of bundled in, but this is back then, 2008. And I was searching for case converters, and I don't know if it's a trait I have, but I would arrive at these case converter sites and they would involve 2 or 3 clicks to get me my results, or they'd be filled with advertising. It would just be too much, just too slow. And I have this little tick inside of me that goes, no, I'm pretty sure I can do this better and faster and cleaner, and I'll use it myself. So that's a big one when it comes to side projects. When it comes to greenlighting a side project, if you will never use this side project ever, you probably shouldn't do it. Because it takes that extra effort, that extra nurturing, and you are involved with the usability. So that also gives you that edge. Anyway, side topic. So here's Case Converter. I buy caseconverter.com, and I designed the site, I think was using the old version of Photoshop. And then I outsourced the code because I'm not much of a developer. I know a little bit of PHP and so on, but I didn't know enough to like convert case into different types.
You like me, I know just enough to be dangerous.
Just enough to glue it all together.
Yeah.
So I outsourced the code for Case Converter. I think it was the 250 Rand from a friend, and he just sent me the JS, and I plugged it in, and I launched the site, caseconverter.com, and people found it really useful. But no advertising. It wasn't asking you for anything. It was just very useful, and I think that's a core attribute for someone actually sharing it as well. And they're like, hey, this guy doesn't want anything. It just actually works. He's probably using it himself. So anyway, I was using that site for 2 or 3 years, and I was looking at the analytics, and next thing you know, there's someone in Ukraine using the site, and I'm like, this is honestly the best thing ever. Like, while I'm not even using it, someone else is finding this useful. There's value there.
Yeah.
So I guess, in hindsight, I probably should have just kept that site. I probably could have done something more with it, but I remember I heard of a site called Flippa.
Yep.
FLIPPA.com. And it was just people buying and selling sites. And I could see my stats, and I was more interested in what this would be worth. I guess I was intrigued by the buying and selling market of sites, which I'd never done before, and especially side projects. So I remember I was in holiday in Mozambique, and I remember the bid, I put the site up for bid, and it had no reserve, so anyone could take it. I just wanted to declutter the side projects and see what would happen, experiment. And I remember I was sitting at a coffee shop in Mozambique, and the final bid came in, and it was $880. And I was like, I paid 250 Rand for this code, and the domain was like 12 Rand, and the hosting was nothing. And that was sort of when I was like, whoa, that was exciting. There was a thrill there.
I call that the sales tingle. When you get that first sales tingle, you're like, oh shit, there's something here.
But it was like, also, it was eye-opener with, wow, that's actually US dollars. I live in South Africa. There was so much that, got unlocked at this moment. And for me, that was definitely the moment where I was like, okay, well, hold up. I can probably do this again with other stuff. I'm not saying I'm a serial buyer and seller, but just knowing that you can sell side projects is also a good reason to greenlight them. because it's not all wasted work. So yeah, anyway, that was definitely the pivotal moment where I was like, wow.
And so many key insights
side hustles
there.
Are fun.
Like the observation, and something I talk about so often is the thing that people should be afraid of is not trying. The thing that they are afraid of is failure. And those things we conflate. And I'm trying to help people understand that the opposite of success is not failure. The opposite of success is not actually trying. And what you're saying is just try. Be curious about the problems you have. Be curious about whether you can solve them. Be curious about what solutions are out there, and then build something of use. And a lot of the questions I get all the time is, oh my God, I don't have an idea. And I have what I call my empty room theory, that you cannot sit in an empty room with no doors, no windows, no access to the internet on your own and come up with an idea. That's not how they work. You have to get out into the world. You have to solve your own problems. You have to bump into people. You have to talk. And then you find the things that are lacking in the world and you fix them. So that's why I love your genesis story of being a side hustler. That's brilliant. So how has this whole journey of being a side hustler changed the way you live? And I'm thinking quite practically here, like 9 to 5 versus side hustle, travel versus stay in one place, buy things versus invest in yourself. Like, what are the things that you think of that this way of life has changed?
So, I mean, let's use, working a 9 to 5 at the bank or something as context. It's just my metrics for success is pretty much freedom. And I spent years trying to design my life where I do not have to do something within a specific day. Within a week is a stretch. I can't exactly not work for a week. I got to check in, the emails stack up and so on. Yeah. But for me to be able to drop everything and go surf or attend to emergency or work on what I want is just such a brilliant headspace to be in and create more. So I spent a long time doing this. I can't explain how much, saying no to things like you were saying earlier gets you to this point. But I'll give you a classic example. Someone asked, "Hey, Rob, can you help me with our landing pages?" And it was a lot of money. This is recently. And I just, that's a short-term win for me. And it's not what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to, elevate my network of sites. I'm trying to create more freedom for myself. And every second I'm working on someone else's website is not a second I'm working on my network of sites. So for me, how has the side hustle changed things? Once I got my income from my side hustle more than my Cape Town expenses, it was literally the leap, as they talk it. And I don't have to do anything for anyone ever. So what did that do? I'm going to say my mental health's in an amazing place. Yeah. But it's like I'm motivated. I can't explain how motivated I am. And it's difficult to tell some people this, especially people who are unhappy with their work. But yeah, you want to talk about 9 to 5. I woke up this morning at 6, made some coffee, started working at 6:45. It's like, yes, let's go. Yeah. I'm stoked, and so how has the side hustle changed? I guess it's changed my whole life. My whole life is just one stimulating adventure.
Yeah.
Jeepers. I hope that didn't sound too
honestly, Rob, if I had scripted it for you, you couldn't have explained for me what side hustles enable people to do. And I think the key thing is I'm in no way telling people that your side hustle is next week going to make you rich. It's going to make you stable, but it's going to give you a pride in your work. It's going to help you understand that you are capable of doing the things that you want to do, that you're not just someone skivvy that you have to work 9 to 5. And my morning, actually, out of interest, you and I clearly live very similar lives. My definition of success is freedom and travel. So the freedom to travel whenever I want to, just pick up and go. And I also woke up at 5:45 this morning, had coffee, did yoga, meditated for 10 minutes, exercised, walked my dog, and then sit down to work by 7:45 or 8 o'clock or 8:30. What a dream. I didn't have to drive. You're at your home office. I'm at my home office. Like, this is the kind of side hustle extended life. And it's taken me 5 years to get here of conscious building. And I'm sure you similar or more. This is the journey, right? It's not this quick win.
So just for context for people listening is that, my main site that provides the most income is a site called One Page Love. And I started that site in 2008. So, I've been adding content to that site, almost every other day for 12 years.
That's epic.
And it wasn't difficult because I really am attracted to that niche. But secondly is that the reason why this site is doing better than all the competitors is I just kept going. And how did I keep going? Is because I'm passionate about the topic. So I guess there's, I want to say this is, a lot of people are like, oh, you're so lucky, 12 years doing one thing.
Patience. I like to tell people two things.
Of work.
Patience and consistency. Like you just have to be patient and do a lot of the thing. And early on, you want to be prolific, not profound. You want to do as much as you can. That's the game. Is just put as much as you can out there. It can't be perfect. Be prolific. And yeah, Rob, you're totally. Like ticking all the boxes here. So this is one of my favorite objections that people will give me when I talk about stuff is, but Nick, you're just different. You're different. You just built differently. And I want to ask you this similar question. Are you different? Like, do you believe that you've got this magic sauce that no one else has to do this kind of living?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm absolutely not special. I'm not great at anything. If there's one thing you want to say I'm great at is from feedback, is I work hard. I put my head down and I like getting stuck in. I really like sprints where, I'm focused. But, if you want to step back to school level, I won Diligence Award at school. Not that it means anything at school. Probably had one spare award. But really, it was probably the point when I realized that no one is going to make this happen other than me.
Yeah.
And secondly is that I am the only one in the way of myself. So if I want to get anything in this life, it's all me. I can't really, you can count on friends for sure, but not when it comes to this online journey. So, I talk about in the middle, I've arrived, I'm content. But, I also want to fly to Portugal and go surfing and then go wine tasting on the Douro Valley. It's like, I want these things and no one else is going to make them happen. So it's me. So what makes me different? Am I special? I just know that I'm the only person that's going to make it happen. And I feel that a lot of people out there will always play the victim and there'll always be an excuse not to work on something. And maybe that's where I'm special, is that I can realize I'm focusing on I'm not focusing on other people. I'm focusing on myself. But it's a diligence, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
But am I born with diligence? No, not really.
It's a muscle you got to practice with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Over time, I've learned how to focus as well. Just time.
Yeah. And it's definitely a big objection. One of the big three is no time, no money, and what will people think? So no time is an interesting one. And I hammer people about this one. Anyone who says to me no time, I call bullshit immediately, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, regardless of whether we believe that time is a human construct or not. We all agree we have 24 hours. You get to choose what you do with those 24 hours. And if you spend 3 of them Netflixing and chilling, that's on you. That's your bullshit. That's not mine. I just choose to spend those 3 hours reading a book, building a business, managing a side hustle, and you can do the same. It's a choice. So yeah, I'm glad you said the diligence is a good one. Okay, is there such a thing in your experience as a quick win? Like, have you had, you were just talking to us about your case, uppercase, lowercase thing, and that was not a quick win, but a win, 250 Rand into $800. But in my experience, side hustles don't happen overnight. How about you?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's all little wins over a long time. That's the game. It's always long game, the long, slow burn. But, win-wise, it happens, and you need to enjoy them. You need to own them. Say that was great, and then just reinvest it back in. That's something I've been a huge advocate of. Even with the ebook now. So I launched an ebook on landing page tips, and the long story short there is I didn't actually anticipate to write the ebook. I was trying to make a course, and I was releasing tips every day. And then there was so much interest in the tips in a snackable format that people were just screaming at me, please, can I have this? And then I released the ebook, and it did very well. And that's, created runway for myself. I've like a few months runway from the ebook, which I never anticipated. But it's like that's a win that gets reinvested into the machine again.
And I think you're mitigating the steps there, Rob. I followed this in great detail. You posted 100 steps in 100 days, every single day for 100 days, and then turned that into an ebook. Like, that's not quick by any means. That's a lot of effort to sit down and write 100 days, 100 tips that are meaningful, that become something. There's no easy journey now, because you are diligent by nature. You're like, oh, fuck, but it was easy. Same, my LinkedIn, I post every single day in Monday to Friday, and I have done since March. Now, that's now part of my natural process, but it's a hard thing to do every single day. So I again, diligence, grind, patience, consistency, all the same things. But yeah, I love that. Great. And I love the book, and it was all brilliantly done.
So just quickly, in addition on the quick wins, you will get someone that tweets something or reshares something in your journey, and then it creates that spike. And yeah, you can get fixated on that, but it's probably best, like I was saying, enjoy it. Don't just brush it off. Say, cool, let's enjoy this moment. But at the end of the day, you want that kind of curve growth to be doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, bang on. Okay. In closing, because I've taken up enough of your time, can you tell us a fun story about your favorite side hustle?
So, if you go to robhub.com/graveyard, you'll see a lot in there. You'll see a lot of really silly things as well. I've done a few things, just to be creative. That's another side that we haven't really talked about, which maybe we can speak about on the podcast. But I'm also trying to be more creative, because that's when I really feel alive. So I have the podcast, the Yo podcast. And for me, I'm outsourcing things. I'm creating intermissions. Like, that's my creative outlets. And with my side projects as well, not all of my side projects are out there to make money. So another one I did back in the day called Hustle Panda. And I was, obviously with side projects, we're quite fixated on getting a good domain, a good .com domain. So I was thinking, wow, this is so difficult right now. So I'm going to create a minimal resource where I'm just going to list .com domains that are brandable, pronounceable, and they're all going to be under $1,000. And it's just there to help other makers out there find them. Anyway, but I got my cousin to make a panda, and then in the footer of the site, I had all these bamboo shoots, and then the copywriting was so cheeky, and I was like, the panda's been hustling for you. And honestly, I didn't make any money on this whole thing, but for me, it was a highlight, because I had such a blast building this thing, motivating. And also, like when you start basically any side project, like, this is actually going to be huge. But it wasn't, and I don't care.
And you have to think that way, right? You have to think it's going to be big. Otherwise, it's not really that motivating to do, because I like to tell people that if your side hustle isn't making sales, it's a hobby. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with a hobby, but side hustles need to actually contribute to your bottom line in some way.
Exactly. You need those few, I guess you could say it's 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle, where 20% of those side hustles are actually funding the rest.
Absolutely.
And yeah, when your side hustles are making money, you should focus there and just try and see not milk them, but try and get them earning as much as you can to create freedom and more fun for the others.
And so you can reinvest them in others. And this is like one of the core messages, and I'm not flippant about it, but building side hustles is one of the first steps to getting control of your financial future. Like, we can't depend on your full-time salary anymore, as 2020 has proven. Like, companies are going under, economies are collapsing. You are the one who's in control of your financial future. Whether you like it or not, you have choice to take control. And I think side hustles help you do that and diversify your interests a little bit better.
Yeah, you know what? I actually just want to add one bit there, just for your students, is that I made a big mistake back in the day on one of my side projects, where I discovered a way of monetizing. I won't get into too many specifics, but I discovered a way of monetizing through affiliate income on one of my sites. And the more I invested and the more I started to funnel in all the traffic on the side project to the affiliate income, the more I was making. And I sort of, I want to not say, I like sort of wrecked the side project for a while. I abused it to try and make as much as I could within this one channel.
Okay.
And what happened overnight is that this was sort of 80% of my income. And then the affiliate channel closed down overnight. They stopped their affiliate channel and they relocated all their budget to marketing and advertising instead of affiliate earnings with their community. So I lost my income overnight, a lot of my income overnight. And that was a hard lesson for me, but a great lesson because, ever since then I've been diversifying what I'm doing. So even with all things happening in the last 6 months with COVID, you have to have multiple income streams. So yeah, diversify as much as you can. And I've been doing that. So I've got a few on the go and it makes me feel a little bit more stable in my day today.
And again, I think the key point is you can't diversify immediately. You have to build one, make sure it works. If it doesn't work, build the next one until it works. When it works, use a portion of that money to reinvest in the next one. And this is a journey. This is a lifestyle. Brilliant. It's not like a quick, oh my goodness, I'm a side hustle guy now. So Rob, it's never dull speaking with you. Your experiences are so useful. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge. People can find you at robhope.com and on Twitter at robhope.
Yep.
Awesome. That's it. Dude, thanks and have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you so much for having me, Nick.
Awesome.